How are you? Are you able to bless yet? First of all, bless yourself. Step back from mind, from disengage from itself. Just open up eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind simultaneously. Bless oneself and all things is the same, is one. Don't use focus to use the mind to project, to seek for anything, to educate, to know, to understand anything. Step back, not attached to the non-attachment itself, cut through the cutting itself, end the ending itself. This is not about educating or searching for understanding anything. This is not Sekha Bukkon, the person who is still being deluded to educate, to learn, to study, being deluded to see, to know, to understand. Step back from disengage from itself, end the ending itself, end the attempt to end itself. Keep the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind opening, ending internally and externally simultaneously. May all cases of karma towards the world, societies, temples and religions, may it be released. Ahosi, ahosi, ahosi. Seize the seizing itself, end the ending itself. This is not about studying, trying to know or understand. Try to understand is deluded, to educate, to study. That is samsara by itself. Step back, not attached to the non-attachment itself. Seize the seizing itself, end the ending itself. To practice the attempt to know, to understand, is not ending, always arising and ceasing on and on, always being samsara on and on. For samsara, it has to be helping through ending, not for arising. Help through ending thoroughly. Seize the ceasing itself. What is it? Disengage from disengaging itself. Keep the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind inside and outside opening. This will be balanced in helping through ending all together automatically, all by itself, by itself. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind are the ambassador already to help giving ending. But samsara is not the same. It's the ambassador of karma and its cycle. Knowing to knowing, seeing to seeing, significance and meanings is the ambassador of karma. So the gates of perceptions of the blessers are only to help through ending only. It's not about significance and meanings given to anything. Therefore, step back. Disengage from disengaging itself constantly, purifying the projecting mind, being upsided. Keep gates of perceptions, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind, internally and externally opening as usual. The conclusion will be for samsara as helping. This way, the anupap, the infinite force, will reach each other automatically. Normally, karma reaching one another, karmic difficulties linking to one another naturally. Therefore, let's shift it. sees the ceasing itself, extinction, reaching one another, emptiness, reaching one another automatically. This is not about studying, trying to understand, trying to know. Not the way. That is samsara, child. Uninvolved within the uninvolvement itself. Step back, uninvolved within the uninvolvement itself. Let's not uninvolved with something. Seize the ceasing itself. Put down the putting down itself. It's not about putting down something. Step back, uninvolved within the uninvolvement itself, child. That is putting down the put down itself. It's not about put down something. The noble ones is still being samsara in their ways, except for the enlightened ones, the arahants. They are not samsara. This is not about uninvolved with something. Step back, uninvolved within the uninvolvement itself. Put down the putting down itself. Let go of the letting go itself. It's not about letting go of something. Samsara of the noble ones will not be left at all. Let's end everything simultaneously. Let's be without flaw. Not leave out even the noble ones to be with their ways. Step back, not attached to the non-attachment itself simultaneously with everything. This is the purification of the extinction that is immense. Let's share the essence simultaneously, all the same. This is not about projecting towards anything. Step back, disengage from disengaging itself. When it is simultaneity, it will be immensely in purifying samsara through the extinction altogether. This is not about attempting to arise or to cease. Disengage from disengaging itself is self-purification within the non-attachment itself. Not attached without grasping itself. The non-attachment doesn't grasp itself. The extinction doesn't grasp itself. Ceasing doesn't grasp itself. In this way, there will be the great compassion that is given right away. Step back, not attached to the non-attachment itself. The gate of perception that are straying here and there, significance and meanings that are still held in. It is relating between samsara and samsara is not helpful, child. This is only making it worse. Step back, not attached to the non-attachment itself. Seize the ceasing itself thoroughly. This will be helping through the purification of the extinction altogether. Not to become samsara, to help one another as such. Significance and meanings is only making it worse for samsara. It is the relation of samsara to samsara actually. Without non-attachment, there is no ending. But only non-attachment is not graceful. It has to be not attached to the non-attachment itself. It's not only just non-attachment. Non-attachment doesn't grasp itself. This will turn into the essence of the great compassion in purifying through the extinction for the whole. That is automatic. To be stuck with just non-attachment, it will be just extinction and ceasing. It is being specific. Let's share ceasing within itself for samsara as well. This is the infinite force that is given simultaneously. Let's not be specific, not just ceasing specifically for the sake of itself. Listen well, it will be ending as helping simultaneously. Ceasing and ceasing as helping is simultaneous. Listen well. Don't use opinions and meaning, criticizing, analyzing, overlaying the listening. Otherwise, it's going to be personal titi, personal opinions and meanings. Then listening without ending within itself, there will be no essence of ending in there. Only criticizing and judgment and analyzation. Listen well. Then it will not be about anything within listening. It will give ending within the listening, within educating all together. This is purification of the extinction and the emptiness together with the listening simultaneously. Let's share the essence completely. Disengage from disengaging itself completely without grasping itself. Let's brighten out fully so that samsara will be purified completely. Let's opening the gates of perception because it is for the blessing. Without opening of the gates of perceptions, there will not be any blessing. Let the internal and the external be balanced. Otherwise, there will be no blessing. Not attached to the non-attachment itself is to be one with samsara. Uninvolved within the uninvolved itself is one with samsara. Step back, not attached to the non-attachment itself completely. The habits of being samsara, of educating, looking, seeing and knowing, trying to understand, trying to memorize, trying to observe and analyze. It is habits of samsara. So step back, disengage from itself also. Disengage from disengaging itself. It will dissolve the disengage itself. It doesn't grasp itself, child. Let it be complete. There's a lot of habits of samsara anyway. It's coming and going. There's a lot. Behind form and formlessness, body and minds, and process of the minds, there are a lot of karmic habits of samsara. The habits of significance and meanings that is given to anything. Even stillness is still taking it into account. What is there that is being still or not? Uninvolved within the uninvolved itself. It has nothing to do with being still or not. Not attached to the non-attachment itself has to be one with samsara simultaneously with all the nature that is there. then there will be the conclusion and ceasing, helping one another automatically. There will be automatic purification of the emptiness all by itself. There is no difficulty in blessing at all, but the desire that overlays in blessing makes it difficult. It's not about anything within blessing, child. Conclude within the conclusion itself. Cease the ceasing itself. End the attempt to end itself. Disengage from the attempt to disengage itself. Let's purify the attempt to disengage. Mind from mind itself, not attached to the non-attachment itself, will purify everything within the non-attachment and the attempt to not attach or to detach. Automatically, there will be purification of the extinction for samsara simultaneously. Disengage from disengaging itself without grasping itself. Step back from disengaging from itself. It doesn't grasp itself. This will purify both the non-attachment and the attempt to detach. This will turn into the purification of the extinction and the emptiness all by itself. And eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind will be balanced with everything. Non-attached to the non-attachment itself. Let's not be stuck with just knowing the yan, the knowing, the consciousness. It's a slack. Step back. Use the extinction to purify simultaneously with the yan, with the knowing. Knowing itself is samsara, child. Disengage from disengaging itself simultaneously. Let's not be stuck with just using the knowing. It is always being samsara, on and on. Being obsessed with just knowing and attempt to know there is no purification through the extinction is still being samsara as usual. Conclude the conclusion itself constantly. This will purify through the extinction and the emptiness altogether. Form and formlessness, body, mind, gaze of perception inside and outside. Step back, disengage from disengaging itself completely. In this way, there will be purification through the extinction for the knowing and seeing simultaneously. Disengage from disengaging itself simultaneously with everything, so that the infinite force will purify through the extinction evenly. So that we don't have to return to study and learn about the great compassion again. Let's be simultaneously given the essence of the great compassion. This is not the extinction for the sake of itself, non-attachment for the sake of itself, ending for the sake of itself. It's not like that, child. Involved within the involvement itself is meant for everything simultaneously. Step back, disengage from disengaging itself simultaneously with everything. Simultaneously with everything. We don't have to learn the essence of the great compassion again. Let's share the essence simultaneously. We don't need to learn how to bless samsara again. Not attached even to the non-attachment itself simultaneously towards the physical world. Let's share the essence simultaneously with everything. When it is simultaneity, there will be automatic purification of the extinction. To be stuck with just ceasing, extinction, ending, it will be purified for the habits of grasping, which has been there until now. There will be automatic purification of the karmic difficulties of the habits of the Samudhaya, the cause of suffering and suffering. The non-attachment is not even itself. Not attached to the non-attachment itself simultaneously with everything. Disengage even from the disengaging itself. Not attached even to the non-attachment itself. This is not just about attachment or non-attachment. So that it will be by the great compassion purifying simultaneously for everything. Then there will be no obstructions. Whether it is so dense, so thick, so subtle, on the earth, on the water, under the water, in the air, there will be nothing that is blocking anything truly. Just let the essence of the great compassion be balanced or be even altogether with everything. It will purify all the hindrances of being specific within knowing and seeing, which is the hindrance blocking the blessing in itself. Disengage even from disengaging itself. We have nothing to do with the gates of perception or sound, smell, taste, touch, and shapes or anything. Uninvolved within the uninvolvement itself, automatically it will be purified through the sunyata, the emptiness, the nothingness. Just share the essence completely, simultaneously, that's all. No choosing towards anywhere, the gaps between the air, the space, within the elements that is dense or light. No exception, just share the essence completely and fully. Disengage even from the disengaging itself, simultaneously with everything. This is not just aiming towards searching in the sky, searching for the emptiness. Let's share the essence simultaneously and evenly with everything, not attached to the non-attachment itself simultaneously with everything. Automatically, there will be purification for all samsara of realms of existence, from the highest realms to the lowest hell realms, without choosing anything particularly. Choosing, then there will be no purification. So don't do it. Disengage from disengaging itself is meant for everything, child. Simultaneously, automatically there will be purification of the extinction without choosing. Then there will be a purification for the option itself, because it's still narrow, it's still limited. Why being limited? The boundlessness has no limit. So don't be deluded to be limited and being narrow. The more you are limited, the more narrow you will be. It creates samsara on and on in such a way. It creates realms of existence in such a way. Disengage from disengaging itself, uninvolved within the uninvolved itself is meant for everything, so that there will be purification for everything altogether. It's not just about putting down something, put down the putting down itself. This is not just about not attached to anything, not attached to the non-attachment itself. All the same with everything simultaneously. It's not just about not attached to anything, not attached to the non-attachment itself. While listening, don't do water blessing or do any other things. It creates karma. Don't let yourself become realm of existence on and on. It's just a flash of the Mara emotions, of the devil's emotions. Just a flash, but still, it is behaviors of karma, even just a flash. Therefore, disengage even from disengaging itself fully nirod for samsara, with samsara, purifying samsara through the extinction fully. Because there's a lot of flash. Moments of flash of the minds is a lot. It's overlaying within the titi of the habits of titi, the knowing, the knower, being obsessed to be engrossed with seer and knower of opinions and meanings. Therefore, the karmic habits overlaying in seeing and knowing in such a way. Therefore, disengage from disengaging itself completely. Automatically, it will have nothing to do with knowing or not knowing, seeing or not seeing. Uninvolved within the uninvolvement itself. This is not to forbid not using seeing and knowing. However, let there be the infinite force of the purification of the extinction completely, uninvolved within the uninvolvement itself completely, so that there will be the infinite force that purifying samsara through the extinction constantly. We don't forbid the knower. However, disengage from disengaging itself, uninvolved within the uninvolvement itself completely. Then there will be purification of the extinction with the knower simultaneously. Samsara will not continue as samsara no more. Knowing is always proceeding back and forth with samsara. Therefore, let's conclude within the conclusion itself thoroughly. Disengage even from disengaging itself completely, constantly. This is automatic purification of nirodha, of the extinction. This is not forbidding to use the body or mind, form or formlessness or anything or samsara. Let's share the infinite force of the purification of the uninvolved within the uninvolved itself completely. Not attached even to the non-attachment itself, child. Let it be completely, constantly. Let's not be stuck with just not attached to anything. Let's make a conclusion within itself completely. Then automatically there will be purification for samsara. It's not about stopping samsara. Instead, it's purifying samsara. It's not about stopping all things. Instead, let's purify all things. Use purification of the extinction for all things instead of rejecting all things, using purification of the extinction and the emptiness instead of rejecting samsara. So that we not just use the great compassion verbally only. It will be true great compassion that is sharing. Let it be evenly with samsara. Is it like that or not? If it's so, the essence of the not attached to the non-attachment itself is balanced with samsara, then is the essence of the great compassion that is given. We don't have to use recitation in this way or that way is the karmic difficulties. Disengage even from disengaging itself simultaneously and evenly with the worldly elements and samsara. Let it be shared evenly for the great compassion to be balanced with everything without separating anything from the emptiness. It's not about empty out from anything. Emptiness is not about emptiness itself. It's not about emptiness from anything. Emptiness doesn't signify itself, child. The emptiness doesn't have meaning as emptiness itself, child.